Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Agenda. Madhavdas G. Viewers, the nation today saw a grand celebration of the Constitution Day in the old Parliament building. President Droupadi Murmu addressed both houses in the Central Hall, following which there was a reading of the preamble of the Constitution. Just after the event, a massive political storm started over the alleged Samvidhan Khatre Mein Hai narrative. In the political face-off, Rahul Gandhi and Congress hit out at the BJP and said that the Constitution was compromised by the Saffron Party. Rahul Gandhi encountered a microphone glitch while addressing an event on the Indian Constitution in the national capital. He began his address holding up a copy of the Constitution, launching an attack on the Prime Minister. However, midway through his speech, his microphone abruptly stopped working, plunging the stage into chaos. Rahul even claimed that the Prime Minister has never read the Constitution. Listen in to the war of words.
इस देश में 3000 साल से जो भी दलितों की, आदिवासियों की, पिछड़ों की, गरीबों की बात करता है उसका माइक ऑफ हो जाता है। आपने देखा होगा, मुझे कहा जब माइक ऑफ हो गया तो मुझे कहा, काफी लोग आए और उन्होंने कहा जाके बैठ जाइए। मैंने कहा मैं नहीं बैठूंगा, मैं खड़ा रहूंगा।
चंद लोग संविधान की तारीफ तो करते हैं और संविधान की तारीफ ऊपर करते हैं, उसको नमन करते हैं और इतनी भाव भक्ति बाहर दिखाते हैं, उतना ही संविधान को वो अंदर से काट दे रहे हैं।
संविधान का पालन करें, प्रीएम्बल का पालन करें, जो फंडामेंटल राइट्स हैं उनका पालन करें। जिस प्रकार से देश में सांप्रदायिक कटुता बढ़ाई जा रही है, एक राजनीतिक उपयोग के लिए, वो आज देश के लिए खतरा बन चुका है।
On the other hand, BJP accused Rahul of disrespecting President Droupadi Murmu by not greeting her at Constitution Day celebrations. In a video tweeted by BJP's Amit Malviya, Gandhi attempted to sit while the president and other leaders were still standing. The video also shows Gandhi leaving the stage without greeting President Murmu. BJP has launched a scathing attack on Rahul and Congress, accusing them of disrespecting the first citizen of the country. BJP has also reminded Rahul that he was the heir to the family which imposed emergency for 19 months in India and muzzled the Constitution. Listen in to the reactions of BJP as well.
Mr. Rahul Gandhi, I think he has spoken, Mr. Kharge has spoken. The people who try to totally kill the Constitution in 1975, अब किस संविधान के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं? मैं कांग्रेस को यही पूछना चाहता हूं, जो गला घोटने का कोशिश किया बार बार।
ये बहुत सारे हमारे अनसंग हीरोज जो उस समय के हैं, चाहे वो सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल हैं, चाहे नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र, उनको सम्मानित करने का, और कांग्रेस ने जो अन्याय किया था उसका प्रायश्चित का कार्य भी अभी हुआ है। और संविधान को हाथ में लेकर के जो घूमते हैं वो संविधान की भावना का पालन नहीं करते।
देखिए, दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, जिनको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में आडंबर नजर आते हैं उनको शायद जो है लोकतांत्रिक इस व्यवस्था में देश की जनता ने इसीलिए नकार दिया। कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जिनको परिवार से आगे कुछ नहीं दिखाई देता।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Let's take this across to our guest. Joining us is Pradeep Bhandari, national spokesperson of BJP. Sujata Pandey, political analyst, is with us. Sanjay Jha, author, joins us on the show. We also have with us Faizan Kidwai of the Samajwadi Party and Anish Gawande of the NCP SP is with us on the show. Let me start first and foremost, in fact, with Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, the BJP is accusing Mr. Rahul Gandhi of disrespecting the president while on dais for the Constitution Day function. He attempted to sit, he left without greeting or even speaking to the president. Your response, Sanjay.
Madhav, good evening. I don't think we need to respond to every attempt by the BJP to try and denigrate or rubbish or tarnish anybody from the opposition. That is their standard playbook. And I don't think I want to dignify their accusations by even kind of making the effort to try and reciprocate their extremely vicious attempt at ad hominem attacks at Rahul Gandhi and other leaders. The truth is that I think they are a very disturbed lot.
No, but Sanjay, may I just come in here before you go further ahead? In the past, the Congress party, of course, you're suspended from the party since, but the Congress party has made a big issue Why was the president not invited for the new Parliament House inauguration? The president's office is being undermined. So I think in that context, is it not legitimate for a party to then ask a counter question about who is now undermining the office of the president, the person who is ultimately the head of our state as far as our constitutional scheme is concerned?
Madhav, I think we are creating a false equivalency here. The president not being invited for certain very significant events is a much more serious contravention of respect for an official position as opposed to Rahul Gandhi, whatever. I mean, the accusations of the BJP look very childish and infantile. I don't think Rahul Gandhi is at all going to intentionally try and disrespect an office. Now, here is the fundamental point since we're talking about the Constitution Day. I think the BJP, Bhandari ji is a decent man in a wrong party. But my basic point for him will be that he will be an upset character today because his party has faced a very embarrassing situation with the Supreme Court saying that secular and socialism is an integral part of the preamble of the Indian Constitution. I have heard many BJP leaders who have talked about removing the word secular and removing the word socialism from the Constitution.
Okay.
And since we are talking about a Constitution Day, I think that is the quintessential aspect that we should be talking today.
Okay.
Why is the BJP so anti-secular? Why are they so anti-socialist? Which is why they love Mr.
I'm going to allow the question. There are BJP leaders, Anant Kumar Hegde, Jyoti Birda and others who've spoken about changing the constitution. Pradeep Bhandari, he says that whether amending the constitution when your own party's leaders have spoken about it, why should that not be a real fear about whether you will undermine the constitution? That is the argument coming from Sanjay Jha's side. Please respond.
Well, Madhav, good evening to your viewers, and let me just say at the outset that all of us are celebrating the Constitution Day, and that thanks to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who after 70 years became the only Prime Minister who decided to celebrate 26 November as the Constitution Day. For 70 years, the Congress Prime Ministers could not even think of celebrating 26 November as the Constitution Day. This tells you about their respect to the Constitution of India. And my friend Sanjay Jha was speaking about Supreme Court. Let me remind what the Supreme Court spoke about the EVMs, that when you lose, you come and blame the EVMs. When you win, the EVMs are fine. So Mr. Jha just forgot that verdict of the Supreme Court. And Mr. Jha also forgot that in the judgment, in the case which he was speaking about, neither the government of India was not the applicant in it, and a private citizen was an applicant in it. Now, coming to the point of the Constitution of India. Madhav, if you recall and remember that the Constitution of India is given to us by Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar, and the Congress party only abused Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar. Recall how Congress party ensured that Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar lost his first election. 70,000 votes were invalidated when Baba Sahib Ambedkar only lost by 15,000. It took 50 years for the Congress party even not to give Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar Bharat Ratna. It was a Bharatiya Janata Party supported government which gave Baba Sahib Bhimrao Ambedkar Bharat Ratna. The Congress party could not even have his portrait in the central hall of the parliament. Now coming to Droupadi Murmu ji. Recall and remember, Madhav, I was listening to a Times Now debate in the past, how Mr. Udit Raj from the Congress party called Droupadi Murmu ji words like chamcha. If you recall and remember how Ajay Kumar from the Congress party, who fought on a ticket in Jharkhand, called Droupadi Murmu ji from evil and belonging to an evil philosophy just because she is a tribal. And it is just not limited to a tribal president. Recall and remember what the second Dalit president had to face. Ramnath Kovind ji was called as deaf and dumb by the Congress party. So when the trait and the history of the Congress party is to abuse the Dalit president and a tribal president, we will ask why Rahul Gandhi purposely, consciously did not greet the President of India. It was conscious in nature. We're not making a mountain of a molehill, and Sanjay Jha should apologize, because whenever the Congress party has been in power, the constitution is in danger. Emergency was implemented by Congress party. First state government which was demolished under Article 354 was by the Congress party. So the constitution has to be saved. Congress has to be kept out of power.
Let me bring in Sanjay now. Sanjay, a number of questions there coming in that it's the Congress that has undermined, the constitution, whether it's the imposition of emergency, whether it's the misuse of President's rule, Article 356, or even as and since you reminded him of what the Supreme Court had to say on secular and socialist, very clearly he's saying you should also recollect what the Supreme Court says on EVMs, that only when you lose you make an excuse, that when you win everything's fine with EVMs.
Yeah, Madhav, since Pradeep ji mentioned Dr. Ambedkar, let me remind him that some of us here are students of political history, and we have heard about the attack that was made on Dr. Ambedkar repeatedly by the Sangh Parivar during the independence movement, and definitely when the Constitutional Assembly was sitting to frame the Indian Constitution. So let's not even go down that road. And the symbolism that you talk about has no meaning, because the kind of insults that you have heaped on the Dalits of this country forced Dr. Ambedkar to change his religion. Do we need to say anything more? Pradeep, just hang on. Pradeep, just hang on. Give me a second. Here is the truth. The truth is, just give me a second. The truth is that today, are you following the spirit of the Constitution the way it should? And Mr. Modi's government, whether it's right to religion, whether it's freedom of speech, whether it's respect that is integral to our fundamental rights, are you really implementing them? The answer is a clear no. One of the best examples of the way you have violated it was the electoral bond, possibly the biggest corruption scandal since 1947 that the Supreme Court had to call unconstitutional. So let's not go down that road. You have a lot to explain to the people of India.
All right, Pradeep, quick response to that. Electoral bonds, number of issues that have been raised by Sanjay as well. Quick response, please. Then I move on to others.
Well, my friend Sanjay Jha, if he comes out of his room, he will realize that India is a free democratic country. And if he reads a bit of history, he will remember that the first restriction on free speech was done by the Congress party by getting Article 19B. So the Congress party in Sanjay Jha should not speak about. And Mr. Jha, it comes too rich of you to speak about right to freedom of religion in Maharashtra, when you and your entire campaign was asking and granting Muslim reservation, and that was part of your manifesto, and that was part of your promise, and the people of Maharashtra told you we will not want a communal Congress. So please look within. We will protect the Constitution, and we will not let you endanger the Constitution of India. Never ever will we let you impose the emergency against Mr. Jha.
All right, and I want to come back to the issue of EVMs, and this is important, Faizan, because just today, Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge is saying, let's go back to paper ballots. Just yesterday, the Supreme Court said that, these EVMs just appear to be a bahana. And in fact, this particular election itself is a microcosm of that. There's one win in Maharashtra, there's one loss in Jharkhand, or one loss in Jharkhand, one win here. Either which way, on which side of the political divide one looks at it from. But the point is that, repeatedly going down saying that EVMs are fakes, that, we need to go back to paper ballots. The courts themselves have said so. And yet we are seeing these voices at the end of the day making up, these things that sort of institutions are being compromised, so on and so forth, especially the Election Commission. Your response to that, Faizan?
Madhav, as far as EVMs are concerned, I was seeing a report yesterday. An incident happened in Kasorgod, where people approached the Supreme Court. Even the Election Commission representative was present there. And the people who were doing the mock poll, every time, thrice they pressed the EVM machine, every time it was a BJP vote. It was showing a BJP vote. To that, she threatened that you dare not go out and talk to people, else I'll file a case against you. There have been several instances, Madhav, where mock polls have been conducted, and it's the BJP who wins, even in the mock polls. So there is certainly something wrong. And as we all know, that there are two companies which are government controlled that make the EVMs. And then when the opposition has raised questions earlier, they said, let's do a hackathon. It was more of a propaganda. If you don't let the opposition party members or those who are willing to hack to give full access to the EVMs, you have to give the physical access. We have to see the source code. We have to see the software. We have to
No, Faizan, the Election Commission's point during that hackathon was just that the physical copy of that EVM is not given. And the whole point of that debate is that nowhere is a physical copy of the EVM given anywhere. That is the whole point of what the Election Commission is trying to do there.
Physical copy of the EVM is with the people who are making the EVMs, right? Two companies which are owned by the government, which are run by the government. So the government is actually making the EVMs and then saying, let's do an election on this. And how ethical Narendra Modi and his government is, we all know. So if the opposition is raising serious concerns, because there are issues about when we talk about...
But Faizan, this was okay when the Congress government was in power at the center, and then the EVMs were being made by the two companies, ECIL and BEL.
Madhav, then it was fine. Okay. No, Madhav, it wasn't fine even then. It isn't fine even now. As our national president has time and again said, 80 की 80 सीटें भी जीत गए अगर यूपी में, तब भी हम कहेंगे ईवीएम से नहीं बैलेट से कराओ. And what's the harm?
No, but Faizan, the point is, this is exactly what the Supreme Court has addressed. The Supreme Court has said exactly this is wrong. That when you win an election, you say EVMs are fine. When you lose, you say they are not. But since you've asked question of Pradeep Bhandari and the BJP, Pradeep respond to that. He says that how can the EVMs be made by companies which are under the control of the central government?
Well, Madhav, just 2 points. First of all, he lied on your show. 18th April 2024, the matter went, the Kasaragod matter which he was speaking about, it went to the Supreme Court. And all what Faizan was speaking, when it was went to the Supreme Court, when all the facts were presented, all of it came out to be mere allegation without any substance. So please do not spread fake news, my dear friend Faizan. Point number 2, recall, Madhav, that few days back, all of these people in the opposition was quoting Elon Musk. See what Elon Musk tells you. Elon Musk wants paper ballot. Recall all of them, Mr. Kharge, 2 others were Jairam Ramesh was quoting. Now Elon Musk 2 days back said that California should learn from the Indian electoral system and how the counting happens so fast and it's so robust in nature. So now will they start blaming Elon Musk? And my last final counter on that EVM part is, Madhav, recall Election Commission invited every political party, please come and hack the EVM. Not a single political party had turned up. More than 8 times the matter has gone to the Supreme Court. They have not been able to show proof. And every counting has every election agent. Till when will they lie? How much will they lie? They can't think the people of India are fools.
Faizan, 1 minute. Faizan, 1 second. He's answering your question.
So that they can loot the booths. I am telling you, Madhav, the real intention is they want the ballot back because they can loot the booths. In EVM, they cannot loot the booths. Recall 2021 elections in Bengal, when you saw ballots being looted by the people. That is their real intention.
That's the real intention. At the end of the day, Faizan, you just want to loot booths. Booth capturing is something that has ended after the era of the EVMs, and that you want to return to that era. That's the allegation from the BJP. Respond to that.
No. First of all, it was Shalini Singh, the chairperson of the State Election Commission, about whom I was talking. And then there was a journalist present at the scene and she threatened him. This is on record. See, in 2022, after the assembly elections, when Samajwadi Party raised concerns that there are around a lot of people, we said there are around 19,000 people who were legitimate voters earlier, but just before elections, those Muslims and Yadavs, their votes have been deducted. They were not allowed to vote. The Election Commission said, okay, provide us all the information and we'll take action. Samajwadi Party sent around 20,000 affidavits with all the people making the signatures that we are legitimate voters. Our votes have been deducted. Till now, the Election Commission has not responded. So what should we make of Election Commission and its credibility? And as I pointed out earlier, there are reports from agencies who have done survey. People of India at large have lost the credibility, have lost trust.
Well, Faizan, that's a sweeping statement to make. All of these matters have gone up to the court, whether VVPAT counting or the balance votes. And in fact, even today, the Election Commission has put out a clarification of some reports coming that there was a mismatch in counting, saying that the postal votes have not been counted. I don't know the specifics of the case that you made, but let me bring in, 1 second, let me bring in Sujata Pandey also in this debate. Sujata Pandey, repeatedly post-election, there will be all sorts of post-mortems, etc., etc. The larger question is that whether all of this is happening only to save face, because the allegations have been cleared time and again, where there have been issues relating to VVPATs, their counting. These matters have gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court on occasion has perhaps granted a few more safeguards, but by and large they have said that the system is fine. Why are we repeatedly going back to those points? Sujata Pandey.
I think, as you said, Madhav, these are scapegoats, because if these scapegoats are not there, the fingers will be pointed towards the leadership, and the leader and nobody would want it, because Khargeji would not want the leaders to be the fingers to be pointed towards Rahul Gandhi, who has failed in Haryana, who's failed in Maharashtra, probably 89th time he's the failed election. So they have to come up with something. Today, listen to Karti Chidambaram, their own party allies. They are saying, no, I have no problem at all if for the EVMs, and they have not faced any election. See, they win in Tamil Nadu, EVMs are fine, democracy is alive. They win in Himachal, EVM is fine, democracy is alive, BJP is demolished, country is secular. They win Karnataka. Karnataka, people have given a democratic mandate, but they lose Haryana, they lose Maharashtra, and then EVMs come to the blame. I think it's enough. I think Rahul Gandhi and his team, his advisors, and the entire ecosystem must learn to stop blaming EVM. It's become lame. It's like a cart ki handi. Kitni baar chadao? वो जल चुकी है. Nobody wants to hear. So come up with better, perhaps some creative, scapegoats. Probably blaming Rahul Gandhi for a change, because at the end of the day, it was his leadership. If they did well in Lok Sabha election and Rahul Gandhi got all the applause, then why should he not be pointed out for losing in Maharashtra and his narrative of Samvidhan being rejected by people? And today being the Samvidhan Day, I think I would submit in one word altogether, is that people of Maharashtra, people of Haryana have shown that the narrative of Samvidhan Bachao, the narrative of EVM being hacked, wherever it suits them, has rejected them. And they obviously cannot come on the street like how they would want the people to believe. So they have answered with the ballot, and I think that is the spirit of Constitution, that you expect, that you accept the mandate of the people, that you accept that people have rejected your false narrative, that you expect that people understand कि ये झूठी कहानियां हैं, ये जनता है, सब जानती है, ये सबको पहचानती है, किसके चेहरे पे कौन सा मास्क लगा है और कौन किसके तार कहां से जुड़े हैं, सबको पता है. क्योंकि अगर ऐसा नहीं होता तो शरद पवार क्यों कहते कि ईवीएम को ब्लेम मत करो? So in their own alliance, they do not have a single. Nobody takes Rahul Gandhi for serious. I think he has decided that he will mock himself every day. He comes out with one narrative, fails, comes out another one. I think that is the reason.
Let me bring in the NCP SP spokesperson. Anish is with us. Anish Gawande, I want you to respond to that. Your own party's leader, Mr. Sharad Pawar, has said don't doubt EVMs. But repeatedly we're seeing leaders of opposition come out and make that same argument. At the end of the day, one has to be gracious in accepting the verdict of the people. Otherwise, after every election, if we're going to have this kind of a dispute or this kind of an argument, just so that some people can save face, it completely undermines the whole idea and the reason that we have elections in the first place. Anish.
Madhav, I was with you on this very channel when those results came in, and the first reaction that I had to those results, that we must accept these results with grace, and that's precisely what the party has believed in as well. Just this evening, Supriyata is in Delhi and had a press conference where she said, I've won through an EVM 4 times. How can I blame the EVM now for our loss in Maharashtra? That being said, there have been significant concerns raised around individual instances with EVMs, which have to be addressed by the Election Commission. You cannot brush off every sort of allegation against sort of foul play just by saying that we're blaming the EVMs and they can't be hacked. For example, in Karad South, there was a case where the physical counting showed a higher number of votes being given to the BJP candidate than the total number of votes being polled in that booth. In a constituency like Karjat Zamkhed, another candidate called Rohit Pawar was given the deceptively similar symbol, trumpet, in an election against Rohit Pawar from the NCP SP, when there are more than 80 free symbols available to give to independent candidates. Right? So there are some concerns that have been raised about the free and fair conduct of these elections. Are we saying that they're single-handedly responsible for this loss? No. But are we saying that when you're not blaming EVMs, should individual instances like these be explored? Of course. And finally, I want to add that when we say that the Constitution is in danger, it's in danger because urban local body elections have not been held for so many years now. When we say that the Constitution is in danger, we say it because the census has not been held now. When we say the Constitution is in danger, we say it because blood samples are being swapped in the Pune Porsche case, and law and order is being undermined in the state and across the country today. So to trivialize the Constitution is in danger quote by limiting it to Rahul Gandhi's body language, I think is a little premature. And I think the argument must be seen in its robustness and not divided into
fair point. Pradeep, quick response to that before we wrap up this debate. He says there are some very serious concerns about not just the manner in which we conduct elections, but about Constitution being in danger. And also, of course, in 2015, there was a controversy. There was a campaign where the original copy of the Constitution was used without the words secular and socialist. So is there some truth in the allegations coming in from some of the opposition parties at least? Pradeep.
Well, Madhav, let me assure and reassure your viewers that till the time Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the NDA is there, nobody can touch the Constitution of India, and we will not let the Congress party damage the Constitution of India as the Congress party had done at the time of emergency. Now, my friend Anish raised certain issues. All of those issues was raised by my friend Anish in front of the electorate in Maharashtra. And the electorate in Maharashtra gave a resounding verdict that they were absolutely happy with the Mahayukti government, which ran for 2.5 years, vis-a-vis the Mahavinash Aghadi or Mahavikas Aghadi as they call it, which ran for last 2.5 years. The basic structure doctrine of the Constitution of India is the cardinal of the Constitution of India. And only one party which tried to usurp the basic structure doctrine of the Constitution of India was the Congress party. So I reassure your viewers that we will ensure that this Constitution is protected from the Congress party.
All right. Let's leave it there. Debate number 1. In fact, I'd like to thank Faizan and Anish for joining us on debate number 1. Our other 3 panelists stay with us for